My name is Yailine Cano. I'm the student body president. And then Eric, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Eric. I'm the EVP for student government. And then we have Charlie as well. He'll be the moderator after when we get to questioning, after we finish discussing.
Thank you. First of all, before we begin, I want to ask that all the questions are reserved for the end. There's a good amount of information to get through. And while things may still be changing, we'll try to keep you updated as we learn some of the new information. And if it takes a while for us to get that information out to you guys, I just want to remind you all that we're also students about to move in next week as well. And we're trying to do all this for you guys on top of getting ready for classes as well. Okay. First up, I want to mention the 3 paths that the upper administration brought up for IIT. The first option was to do nothing, and then Illinois Tech would close in a year and a half. The second option was across the board cuts. And the third option was to have focused restructuring, so that will be the combination of all the colleges from 7 down to 3. And this is the option, the third option, the one that the Board of Trustees have already approved. And I just wanted to mention the first 2 options because, yes, a lot of changes are happening, but the alternative was that we would have been closed in the near future, but because of this restructuring, this gave us an opportunity to fix our situation. So as you might have seen before, the new structure of the colleges are the 3 colleges. First up, the College of Tech Futures that has the College of Computing, Engineering, Applied Sciences, and Health. The College of Design Futures has the College of Architecture, Design, and Society. The College of Professional Futures has Law and Business. And what this means for students is that you all will still continue with the degrees that you signed up to do with the same requirements. That hasn't changed. For academic advising, you'll have the same advisors. A few may change depending on the remaining of faculty and staff we have left. For the class sizes, it's projected to increase. It used to be 14:1. It's projected to increase to 17:1. For new leadership, the College of Professional Futures, our interim business dean is Elizabeth J. Durango Cohen, and the interim law dean is Harold J. Krentz. For the College of Design Futures, the interim dean of College Futures and interim director of the School of Architecture is Reach Kroloff, and the interim director of School of Design and Society is Jennifer De Winter. For the College of Tech Futures, the interim dean is Nicole L. Beebe. She was the former dean of the College of Computing, and she's now going to be heading this new college. And the interim director for the School of Computing is Zhao Fan Li. The interim director of the School of Engineering, Applied Sciences, and Health is Brent Steffens. Now more going into the changes to faculty, staff, and administration. There was a 30% layoff that happened July 28th. Those who got laid off will continue up until mid-August, of which it'll be their final day. And then there was also salary cuts for those making over 100,000. And the reasoning behind that huge percentage of cuts of salary and also the layoffs is because we did have a 40% decrease in enrollment. For fall 2026, we have about 4,530 students currently enrolled to start classes in fall. And thus the school had to cut some faculty, staff, and administration to downsize to the amount of students that we currently have, because at that moment we were having too many faculty and for students that we did not have. What this could mean for students is less student activity funds, but for the amount of students that we have, it will equate to that. For example, each student, when they enroll at Illinois Tech, each student pays a $125 fee that goes towards funding organizations and events that happen on campus. Going into changes for housing. So MSV and Gonzalez Hall are closed. Gonzalez Hall has been closed since last summer, but this year they closed MSV as well due to the lack of students signing up to live there. There was only 140 students signed up to live in MSV when there was 160 beds open in other residence halls. So they decided to close MSV in order to save on costs of keeping it open. Your roommates or suitemates may have changed as of 2 to 3 weeks ago, just because there was an error in when there was signing up to do room assignments. Some people who said they wanted to be with the same gender ended up accidentally being put with the opposite gender. And due to that, some people had to be moved around to accommodate to the preferences of people. Those who got moved got an email, but those who did not get moved, but they got a new suite mate or roommate, did not get an email. Those who applied for housing late may not have on-campus housing due to the closure of MSV, and housing is no longer accepting applications. If you are first and second year outside of the radius of 25-mile radius, I would email financial aid or housing regarding that, since you are required to live on campus. For Illinois Tech as a whole, as you may have heard, in the fall of 2026, we had about a $60 million deficit, and it's projected to increase by 40 million in fall 2027. And the reason this is happening is because of F1 visas being denied or delayed due to the new administration of the US. And another reason being public K-12 enrollment declined by 10% over the last decade due to the 2008 recession. So there's less college-aged students available to be enrolled in college. So this is not only affecting Illinois Tech, but all the universities throughout the country. And many of our neighboring colleges are doing worse off than we are at the moment as well. Another reason is students are no longer seeing the value of a technical education due to AI. Since the majority of our degree programs are tech related, there was a decline in interest in that. To accommodate to those changing interests, Illinois Tech is exploring adding new degree programs for AI related subjects. And what has Illinois Tech already done? So there has already been a hiring freeze. They haven't been hiring new staff or faculty unless it's an emergency. For example, up until last month, we didn't have a director of residence life. It was instead headed by the director of student life. But since that director is very important to the operations of the school, they went ahead and hired that new director of residence life, while other positions may still be open that have been open for longer. The second thing that they've done was the consolidation of the colleges, just to cut down on amounts of deans necessary to run the school. So you used to need 7 deans, now it's down to 4. The School of Law having a separate dean from the School of Business. there has been discretionary spending cuts. So every single thing that the school has spent money on, they have to go through hoops just to get it approved, just to make sure that there isn't anything that's being spent unnecessarily. They've gone through some one-time measures, such as selling assets, getting donations from outside companies or donors, drawing from our endowment, and also getting federal leave. Some communications that we've already had is that we've met with the provost, the vice president of enrollment, the dean of students, the vice provost of academic affairs, and we're also currently in communications with SBA, so that's the Student Bar Association, and that's the governing body for the law students. Eric, what do you want to add on anything else?
Yeah, thank you. So with all of this being said, in our last meeting with Provost Hudson, she had the idea and was very forward about her and a couple other upper administration coming to an open forum during one of our Senate meetings. So once we get a new Senate, probably at the end of August, beginning of September, we're going to be inviting the provost and then a couple of the administration who are making these decisions to come to one of our Senate meetings and answer questions that the students have. So I would just keep your ears out for that. Probably will be coming through an email, but we are eager for that to happen, because that is one of the only ways where students are actually going to be face to face with the people who are making the decisions, and hopefully we'll get answers out of them. I know right now we're telling you what we know. We're telling you what we've discussed with the provost. All of these decisions that have been happening have been without student input. And we've been trying to advocate for students' input into these, but we weren't met very gracefully by the administration. When we had our meeting with the provost, we had a list of questions that we came with. And what I will say is that they took the questions, they reworded them, and then they didn't answer the questions. So as much as we communicated with them, it wasn't all too helpful because the questions really weren't answered. What I will do is, in the chat, I'll be sharing a document that the provost sent to us after our meeting. It's pretty much a list of questions and at least answers to those questions in that document. So we're trying to make sure as many students are aware of what's going on, because usually only the students who are on campus know what's going on, and if they're off campus, or if they don't live in Illinois or Chicago, then they don't know what's going on. Everything's being spread right now through word of mouth, and I know the provost just sent out an email, but that email was only about the new colleges, and that pretty much was a leeway, or hopefully a segue into what was going to happen. That's all from me.
Thank you. As we go forward, we recently lost access to our Instagram, so that was our main form of communication to the larger student body. And we're currently trying to get access back to that account. In the meantime, we're gonna try to work with Tech News to try to get information out to you all. We don't want our social media being taken down, the reason why you all don't get information. We want to tell you all that we know as we get it along the way. And if there's anything else that comes up and things that we've learned, we'll try to work with Tech News, or hopefully we get our social media back by then to get that information out to you all. And at this moment, we are going to open it up for questions. The way we're going to have these questions go is that just use the raise your hand function, and then we'll go through the order that it pops up. Okay. Eric?
We can't hear you if you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
There we go.
My question is related to the Coursera program. We saw last year that they transferred a number of courses and programs to the Coursera software. Is there any status on how successful this program has been? Has it been able to bridge the gap for the university?
At the moment, we do not know the answer to that question, but we'll reach out to those who are in charge of the Coursera program to get the answer for you as soon as we can.
Thank you.
Mohammed?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think me and a bunch of other students are also having concerns based on graduation and whether or not we will be able to graduate, given that a lot of our faculty and staff have been dropped. It means that we might not be able to take the courses that we were supposed to this semester, or maybe even the semester after, without any proper replacement for those courses. So one of the biggest concerns that I have and a lot of other people have is like graduating on time. And then also whether that means that if there is a likelihood that school administration might not run past next August, what would that mean for students who are either in their first, second year or still even trying to graduate?
For regarding graduation and skill required courses, the school has assured us that you all would still be able to get your requirements. While that 1.5 years of closure was mentioned, that was just in case the school did nothing about our current situation. So at the moment, the school will not be closing in the future. With the current restructuring that we have, it's to prevent that from happening. And that's also a concern we've been having as students, the faculty being laid off, and some of them being our professors that we were assigned to do. As of now, we're in communications with the university to try to figure out how that is going to play out for the students, but you will still be able to graduate with your degree program, regardless of whether or not the professor who originally taught that your section is here or not. For sure that I know an answer to that, because I don't want to say something that ended up changing in the future, but we'll reach out to those who are in charge of the academic affairs, the vice provost, to get a solid answer for you. Okay. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Lasmi.
Yeah, it's with an I. It's Yasmi. Can you hear me?
Yasmi? Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I was wondering, if we're not part of SGA, do you know what we can do as like other students who are not part of SGA to help the problem on campus?
Right now you're helping a lot just by coming to this meeting, making yourself informed of what's happening. We really appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to come to this meeting. We will be having more meetings in the future. Tomorrow we'll be having office hours, so that's just an opportunity for you to drop in and just ask us questions that you may have. And as we go about the school year, you'll have many opportunities to attend their Senate meeting as well. we actually have our senator elections coming up. So if you're really interested in being more involved, that's an opportunity as well. For now, if you don't want to have a position in SGA but still want to help out, I would recommend just keeping yourself informed, and in case your peers have any questions, you'll know how to answer without having to rely on speculation.
Yeah, so can I have a follow-up question?
Yep.
I'm the president of Ethical Debaters, and I'm working with 2 faculty right now to host an event on campus to have discussion about the school. I don't know if SGA wants to have part in that, a voice in the discussion as well. That's one way I'm looking to help, but I honestly don't know much about what's going on, and I'm trying to get informed. I don't know your thoughts on that, or if you can help with that.
Yeah, we could work with you to get the most information we can to you. As of now, is really focused on trying to get all this information, but we could connect to see what we could do once we come back from the summer.
Yeah, and if I could add on to that, I think again, you guys all being here really does help out, and you guys talking with your classmates as well, your friends, just about this information, what you guys know is true and what you guys also know that are just rumors. We don't want to spread the fear about students that, you know, we may be closing, because again, we were reassured that we weren't. And specifically for ethical debaters, we would love to connect after this call and see how we could work together. Thank you.
Bethany?
Bethany?
Hi. Okay, so I'm wondering about student employment in relation to the hiring freeze, because I was working with the Office of Student Life last year as a CLA. And then I just got an email the same day that the stuff came out, like the SGA post came out, and it was saying how hiring won't be completed till paperwork is completed. So I'm wondering, do you know if the hiring freeze will have an impact on returning student employees?
If I
There,
could.
yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Thank you. Yesterday there was a meeting for specifically undergraduate Office of Admissions, just because we work with students who are incoming and we like give them calls and let them know about our university. We had a meeting yesterday with Jeffrey Wierzinski, who is the Vice Provost of Academic Affairs, and Malik, who is the Vice President of Enrollment here at Illinois Tech. And well, we brought up the concern about, you know, what does that mean for student employment? Because a bunch of us on this call are working for the university right now, and you know the hiring freeze. Ooh, that it does sound scary. And what we got out of him was pretty much nothing. We asked the question, and what they basically told us is at the moment that we shouldn't be worried about losing our jobs. If we have a job, we should look forward to the future and continuing that job throughout the year. And then again, any communication will be relayed. I know specifically there was one question during yesterday's meeting about I think it was CDAs in the housing system and how that was going to get impacted. I think Catherine Stetz, Dean Stetz, is in charge of that whole situation. But what we'll do is we'll reach out to see what more information we could get out specifically for student employment.
Okay, thank you.
Adding on also to that,
Mhm.
it depends on how much funding your department gets. Some student employment may not be affected while some others will be. For example, I worked for the Department of Pre-College, and unfortunately they did get defunded. And so I lost my on-campus job over the summer. But for student life specifically, I know they're still waiting to hear back on a budget, and so are many other departments. So I would just keep in communications with your manager or your department head to know whether or not they receive funding for student assistance.
Thank you.
Nova?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. And apologies if I had missed this already, but with the hiring freeze, with the discretionary budget freeze, and with this whole reorganization of the colleges, has the school confirmed if this is a balanced budget, or is this going to be them still operating at a deficit, just less of a deficit?
The school is currently still working with a deficit. The one thing that the Board of Trustees did say, though, that if they decided to go through the restructuring and consolidation of the colleges, the Board of Trustees will be giving us more funding if we go with that route, of which we did. So we're looking forward to getting more funding from the Board of Trustees.
Can I ask a follow-up question real quick?
Yes.
Did they confirm or set a specific amount that they're going to be increasing the funding, or did they say we will increase the funding to close the gap, or is there still going to be a deficit? Is it still possible there will be a deficit?
We do not know the for sure answer to that question. We'll reach out to those who are in connections with the Board of Trustees to get that answer. But ensure us that they will make sure that IT didn't close if we went ahead with the college restructuring.
Okay, thank you.
Mohammed?
I wanted to kind of point out and bring back to the fact of how it seems for a while now, the way that SGA and a lot of the voices of the students have been taking in a very passive tone. And really, we keep saying that we would like ideally XYZ to happen, but then we end up talking about it, but no action really ends up being taken. Example I can give is about a year ago, one of the senates that I joined, we talked about there was mold in MSV. And I clearly remember one of the senators talking about that and how we'd want to change that, but I don't think that ever got resolved. And other issues around campus that we would continuously be having, we would talk in these Senate meetings and try to discuss ways that we can approach and try to address these issues with the administration, but they would never really get resolved. And it almost felt like mostly it was because it was being taken in a very passive way rather than taking it more of an active role on it. My question to you is, do you think that is still the approach that we want to take? Do you think that's a good idea to still take this approach where we keeps feeling like we're being pushed off to the side, where our voices aren't really being heard, and they keep making decisions without the input of the students?
If I could jump in here, Yailine. Over the past year, we've been working with the Senate and our Constitution and bylaws to get out of that situation that you were just describing, get out of that passive situation where the admin aren't listening to us. What we found to be most effective is continuing the Senate. The Senate is one of the most important parts of student government. That is the way that the entire university gets represented from the different colleges that we have, the different years, and DEI as well. So over the past year, specifically for the mold situation, somebody actually brought it up and we had pictures. There was a small presentation about it during one of the Senate meetings. What I could say is that specifically for the mold situation, we have talked with facilities and we are hopeful to get something working. I know for that student specifically who was in that situation, we got a separate accommodation for her housing situation since there was mold in her room and they were trying to fix and work that situation. I know there's mold going around in other places as well. It's not just one specific dorm. What I would say is bring it up to the Senate, talk to your constituents. There's people representing the university in all different forms. And most of our Senate meetings, if not all of them, are open to students on campus. And they could come and you guys could talk about these issues and propose that the Senate student government does something about it. Over the past year, we have also restructured our communication with faculty, with the admin, and with staff as well. Specifically academic affairs, facilities, student life. We've restructured in a way where most of our suggestions, most of the concerns of the students do get heard. And a way that we do that is constant follow-up through emails, through messages, through in-person meetings, with these administrators. We understood that prior to last year, there's been a lack in the Senate, there's been a lack in student voice, and our hope is to bring it back. And last year we were doing a lot of restructuring for that. This year, again, with the Senate elections coming up soon, it's going to be even more important for those people in those seats that are making the decisions for the students. So that's what I could say to that. It is our goal to bypass all of that, and we've been doing a lot of that in the past year. Over the summer, we've been working with admin and faculty. It's been a little bit harder over the summer, only because it's the summer, but once school starts, we're going to be constantly reaching out to administrators, having meetings, and making sure that student voices do get heard.
We've also been working with our fellow governing body, the Student Bar Association, to work more together with students to have a more united front. In that way, we've seen that administration have been more willing to listen to us that way. So we're just trying to be more firm with what we want. For example, this meeting that we had with the provost, we just said we need to have this meeting since you have not been telling us what's been going on with the student body and we need to know. And because of that, we were able to get this information from her. I know you mentioned the mold situation too. I believe that student was in Row Village, and over the summer they did do construction in Row Village to renovate it. And they just couldn't do it during the school year since people were currently living there.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that?
Yep.
I just want to clarify. I'm not trying to say that. I guess what I was trying to get at with the question was really to ask, like, it seems as though we constantly come back to this this idea of, oh, we are in talks with them, we are in talks with the administration, but again, it feels like we're constantly being brushed off and our concerns aren't really being met. So my question really is, like, how much more are we expected to just keep talking with them or keep approaching them with these problems and keep this pressure going without ever having like any fruitful results coming out of it?
Yeah. So you want to go, Yailine?
Or you could go ahead. Sorry about that.
Okay. I was going to say that I know in the past a lot of students weren't involved in the specific issue, and because there weren't a lot of voices being advocated for that issue, the administrators just thought, oh, okay, it's just 5 people who are concerned about this. It's not important right now. But I would say in this meeting, we have almost 30 people, and that's 30 people on one issue. I know it may not seem like a big number, but if those 30 people start talking to 5 people, then the number starts to grow, and our advocacy towards a certain issue also starts to grow, and then the administration can't just brush it off anymore. The more people know about a specific subject, the more people know about a specific topic, the more the administration has to listen and has to the students that, okay, we'll listen to you. We'll hear you guys out. We'll work with you to figure out a solution, because it honestly, it's all about the students and communication about the specific subject, whether it's mold, whether it's, there's one person that was laid off, whether it's some misconduct. It's all about students just talking about it and making it and amplifying it to a level where the administration can't brush it off anymore. I know communication is one way that they become aware of it. And when we do communicate that to them, once we do have a bigger number of students who are on that specific topic, they can't say, oh, why didn't you bring it up a month ago? We did. We sent you guys an email, but you guys didn't listen. So stuff like that is how we get the ball rolling. And then obviously it's up to the students and up to SGA to amplify that to a wider range of students. I think Yailine was going to say something as well.
You summed it up pretty good.
Awesome. Did that answer the question, Muhammad?
I'm just getting there, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's what we could hope for.
Eric?
Yes, so I wanted to talk again about the buildings. You mentioned that guns and MSV are going to close. I have two questions, I suppose. Firstly, what's going to happen to these buildings? I had heard previously over the last few years they were intending on building a new sports facility or something of that sort where MSV is. Is that going to happen? Are they going to demolish these buildings? What's the plan with that? And then a second question, kind of related, can we expect similar treatment for any academic buildings, considering there's a smaller amount of staff here? Are any older academic buildings going to be shut down?
For Gonzalez Hall, from what I heard, they don't plan on opening it again, since that building itself needs to be fully renovated, which costs too much. For MSV, in the future, once we do have more students, they're likely to open it up again. But as of now, they're just gonna keep MSV as it is right now. Just in case in the future we do end up getting enough students to house and fully fill up MSV for that. They don't plan on doing anything to the academic buildings, since each of them have their own home of their academic study. So if they were to close one, it'll be kind of hard to relocate it. For example, Stewart building is used for the computer labs that they have there. It's not like they could just move all the computing classes to the tower in the 13th floor. And then Retaliata has the labs underneath it that people use for their research. So they can't just get rid of that either. So as of now, they don't plan on closing any academic buildings. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
And it seems AM.
Hey everyone, just a quick point of order. Let's make sure, oh, we got it. If our questions are answered, we put our hands down just so we can keep track adequately of the questions. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep.
All right. So I'm assuming Mohammed's still on the call, right? Mohammed, I gotta say, I do agree with you on this. The way the administration has been treating SGA is kind of insane. Being the voice of the students, they essentially don't care about what SGA says. And unless we make it their problem, we are probably never getting an answer for a lot of the things we are asking. I mean, like we how do we get here is always kind of a question that I'm asking, especially where we're in a deficit that is tremendously large and still building. I feel students only have the option to make it more of a problem that we are not being answered. I definitely have to say that the students will, if it continues like this, students will have to organize and make their opinions heard, because as it is right now, the SGA being the only thing between students and the administration, the leadership, it's not working. It's clearly not working. Thank you.
Yeah, and what I would say to that is that yeah, it's not working. We've been trying for almost 2 years now. This is going to be our second year in these positions. Hopefully, having some change. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, AM. I think this brings back the whole thing of the more students know, the better. The more students are advocating for something specific, the more the administration can't just brush it off anymore. Whether we do this on the call or we would love to connect with you after to see, what ideas you may have that, could amplify the students' concerns and hopefully at least get through the administration would be fantastic.
We got to protest. It's no simpler point. I mean,
Yeah.
we got to be really annoying. We got to make it very obvious that the students are concerned about their future here at Illinois Tech, because a lot of students now are thinking of leaving because
Yeah.
who knows what's happening to our programs? Who knows
Yeah.
if their specific degree is going to be cut? Who knows what's going to happen in the future? I mean, we truly don't know if Illinois Tech will be here. I believe you guys stated that Illinois Tech will not be closing. And that's probably true in some way, but a lot of Illinois Tech has closed now.
Right.
Especially with a 1/3 layoff of the entire professor faculty here at IIT. It should not be ignored.
Yeah.
And it should be.
And
No, you got it.
No, I was just gonna ask, go for it, Yadin.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we're also not content with the way they've been communicating with students, which is why we had this meeting. After we saw that the provost didn't give you all the information in the email, we wanted to let you all know what we have been digging for. And this is also a kind of form of getting students to come together to be educated on what's happening and also seeing what we can do to get our voices more heard, because right now, to be honest, we felt like we've been put off to the side instead of being listened to and having a say in the changes. Yes, there's a lot that's happening. And while they did say that Illinois Tech was going to stay open, it's not going to be the same Illinois Tech that we enrolled into, as in all the changes with the colleges happening with the Armor College of Engineering no longer be called Armor. It's just the College of Engineering under Tech Futures. We've been trying to tell as many people as we can about all this that's happening. And as we go forward, we're going to continue doing this and then just pushing administration more to listen to us and what the students want, not just what they think is best for us.
And something specifically AM about the protest. Give us until we get the provost in one of the Senate meetings where you guys could ask them questions. Let us have that meeting for the students, not just SGA, but the entire student body. Come up to this meeting and ask them questions face to face. They can't hide anymore if that's the case. Give us until that time, and then we could see, if we need to escalate it, then we'll do something along those lines of a protest. But
I hope you stick to those words.
Yeah. And we're gonna be fighting extremely for the meeting. And again, in the chat, I was gonna put the document, but I can't. It won't let me add the document, so I'll email it to everybody in this chat, and it clearly states on the email that the Provost Hudson will be in attendance at one of our general meetings, and she will be answering questions. So she put it in writing. We're gonna hold it to her, and we're gonna make sure it happens. But in the interest of time, let's move on to Daniela.
So just following up, a quick voice check. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so following up Mohammed's conversation and AM's conversation, you guys keep saying if a big number of students come up, then our voices will be heard. Do you guys have that number? any previous data that could like back that up, or like an example where like higher up started paying attention?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for example, one of our past initiatives during the school year, prior to our school having to consolidate our spending, was the mobile ID. We got over 300 people saying and signing a petition that this is what they wanted for the student body. And they were going ahead with making the changes. They even modified some doors throughout the university to make it happen for us. Unfortunately, due to our funding having the decline, they did pause it, but they still continue on doing it. But that's just an example of if, for example, 300 or more students come together, it's not like they could just look away. That's a good chunk of our school that's saying that we're tired of just being aside and we need to be listened to. At the end of the day, we're the reason that they're still having the jobs that they have. And without the students, the university wouldn't be a thing. Did that answer your question?
Yes, that
Sorry.
it. So more than 300 people for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have, I think, 30 right now. You know, we're still gonna send an email to the provost after this saying that we met with 30 students and talking about how the specific questions you guys have been asking were talked about, and we'll ask for her to answer them. But imagine if that was 300 students. That plays a bigger impact than 30 students. But 30 students is where we're gonna start, and hopefully we could grow from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Faizan?
So I'm a newer student, so I'm not sure if this information was already available, but is there a way to see the financial records or the tax records of IIT to see how they've been spending their money?
I know are you talking about the future spending or how they spent it in the past?
Both.
Since they're for the academic school year to come, we're still waiting on that since the fiscal year just ended for them in the 31st of May. So it should be coming out hopefully in the near future. As for in the past, you're able to see how they spent it on, for example, salaries of the upper administration. As for the exact details of what they spent it on, that's what we're currently looking into. But for now, we've just located the salaries.
Okay, thank you.
Melissa?
Hello. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So there's been a lot of forums where a lot of professors at the university or like had been saying that this is not just a 2-year situation. And there's a spreadsheet that is circulating as well that tracks the terminated faculty. And I know that you guys might say it's unverified, but there's also professors that are posting in LinkedIn that they got fired already. So for students who lost their advisor this way, or like they lost their professors for classes that they need to pass, since we are already limited with classes, how do we know this? Because we're basically still have the class in our registrar, but the professor's not even there. So how is that not going to affect any of us graduating on time? Like, I don't see really the assurance here. I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, we've also been attending these university faculty meetings. And this is similar to a question that we answered a few minutes ago with the assurance of the graduation. Everyone that is enrolled in the degree programs is getting the degree programs they enrolled into. In the future, there may or may not be some degrees that get discontinued or just put on a pause, depending on how many people enroll in it. But whoever is currently enrolled in that degree program will graduate, and then they'll get to decide in the future once we do have enough enrollment if they'll open it up again. I will say for how long we'll be in this situation, it's a bit difficult to say, just because most of all this that's been going on is because of the current government of the United States, and because of all the changes that they're doing in the federal government, it's making it hard for institutions. For example, majority of our students are international students, and they were not able to come back to study or come here to study. So up until we get new administration in the federal government, and then give it some time to repair what has been done already, we'll still be in a similar situation till then.
And if I could hop on there, something about reassurance is that I understand that you guys also understand that we're also students. So it's students talking to students right now. And that doesn't really help with being reassured, because it's not coming right from the, what's the metaphor? Let's not go into metaphors, but it's not coming from the administration. Obviously they sent an email out yesterday, but it was very vague as to what was going on. It just clearly spoke about the colleges and the restructuring. But we are hoping, and again, communication is very important during these times, specifically for you guys as well. Communicate with SGA what those concerns are, and specifically if you guys aren't reassured, we'll tell that to the provost. We'll tell that to the VP, the vice president, and maybe even the president. We want to make sure that, first of all, again, what Yailine said, there is no Illinois Tech without having any students. So that's obviously the most important. And I feel like once the admin come out with something, it'll all, that is the hope. We'll see what happens, honestly.
I mean, I get what you guys are saying. Like, I understand that you guys are students as well. I mean, I'm just saying that this is such a sudden like event for like it happened before 2 weeks school was about to start, and it's mostly like we're getting news from ABC, not even from like our emails
CBS
as well.
too, yeah.
CBS and stuff like that. So I'm just basically saying like there's no sort of communication on our end. I feel like you guys kept emphasizing communication and transparency, but we're not getting that through our emails. And you guys are saying we're not reading our emails, but we're checking and we're not getting anything. Like, tell us at least that our advisors got fired, our professors got fired, so we at least can gain some repercussion of how to respond to it rather than being last minute, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm just basically approaching here.
Yeah, that is something that we've
No, go for
we've
it.
emphasized with them, how frustrated we are with the way that they're not communicating in a timely manner. And the decision that the Board of Trustees made was made about a month ago for consolidating and approving the consolidation of the colleges. While this should have been done sooner, there's nothing we could do to go back in time to tell them to consolidate the colleges sooner, so they could get this information out to us. And they have told us that they sent out an email, but we looked back and that email was just vaguely telling us about the names of the colleges. And we told them that that wasn't enough, that they should be sending out communications to students about everything that's been happening. And we've just been kind of given kind of a really vague information for the general student body to be given out, which is why we're having this meeting. Going forward, we have told them that with anything major that's going on or something that is going to affect the student body, that it's told to us once they know all the details. And we've been holding them up to that.
Just a quick point of order real quick, just because we are getting a lot of hands raised and I want to be conscious of time. If we could please try to, just for a little bit, restrict our statements to 90 seconds, just so we can kind of get through and let everyone speak.
Thank you.
Did they answer your question?
Yeah, that answered my question. Thank you.
Zainab? Oh wait, hold on. It was Nova next. I'm so sorry.
You're good. Just real quick to a previous point kind of made by AM and Daniela. I'm an alum of the school. I was here during the COVID era. And I will say there is, just like anecdotally, there's a very strong correlation between student engagement with the student government and administration's responsiveness. So like Eric said, like students showing up to these events and encouraging your friends to come to these is incredibly important. One thing I do want to ask, just like almost a quick yes or no, does the university, because this is something a lot of students are concerned about, does the university plan on telling students which professors were laid off?
We don't
At
know
the
as of
moment,
now.
no. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and just
mhm.
quick follow-up to kind of keep it 90 seconds. Will SGA work and fight to get that information to the students?
Yes, we're
Yes,
currently
yeah.
working on trying to get that list for you all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mohammed?
Hey, third time. But what I wanted to get back to is the fact that it seems that we keep talking about how we want students to come to these events and get together and show that we're all like unified and we have one voice. But I want to reiterate the fact that how difficult that can be at times, especially because a lot of us have very huge academic burdens. We have multiple organizations we're part of, and we're trying to strive academically. And so taking out times from our schedule to come to these sorts of events, it really becomes difficult for a lot of us who just don't unfortunately have that time. So for those people, how would you go about trying to still get them involved and have them in the loop in all this? That's not just emails, because emails can get buried underneath other emails, not just emails, but other ways that can help us raise our voices and also get us involved in these types of things.
Yeah. Something that was done in the past is that, yeah, we understand a bunch of people have huge academic schedules and also organizational schedules, so they're involved in several things on campus. Referring back to mobile ID, something that was done was just collecting signatures. Collecting signatures for the specific task and for the specific information that we're talking about. Another thing that can also be done is tabling. I think that was just mentioned in the chat. Tabling on the bridge, just with student government and about the specific topic. People are walking by to go to the comments. People are walking through MTCC. They look at our table and then they sign the petition, or they sign a piece of paper. Then we go with to the provost. That is one of the clear ways in which we learned has worked in the past, is getting student signature, tabling up on the bridge, and just start putting it out there that students want things done rather than just, again, emailing, because the emails do get lost. You guys are extremely, busy with academics and everything else that's going on personally. So even just getting signatures on the bridge could be a real impacting. It could be a way to get those students who don't have the time to be involved.
Another way that we've been also planning to do in the future is having our office hours. So once we coordinate with our current executive board on their schedules, we're going to hold office hours. So the opportunity for any student to come in and just ask their executive board questions on what's been happening, or just to get information on how they could help out. In this past year, I did have office hours where I would just leave the door open, and if anyone walked in, I'll talk them through with what's been going on and answer any questions I can. Once we have that going, we'll post it on our social media on when people could come in, and we'll be there to answer questions.
Hopefully that answered your question, Mohammed. If not, we could always connect after and
Yeah.
talk more about other ways that we could do.
No, for sure.
Thank you.
Zainab?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I just wanted to ask, with the new futures thing, I'm assuming that that's because to centralize the administration, and kind of keep things organized. I'm a little concerned that with less faculty on site, that will lead to more pressure and more less time available for the faculty. And then again, emphasizing the lack of communication between faculty and students, that I feel like that's just gonna cause the gap between like both sides even more, with this centralized administration. Do you guys have any comments on that?
Yeah. While they did fire 30% of staff, faculty, and administration, we lost 40% of our students. So we still have enough of faculty, staff, and administration to accommodate to the students that we currently have enrolled. So while we did lose a lot of professors, and we no longer have department heads anymore, there will be less students than before, so it won't be overly putting pressure on those who were still working with us.
Yeah. And that is what we hope. And if it doesn't work out that way, if the administration, what they told us, isn't what is going to happen, and it does more so than often, let us know if you guys see it face to face, because we want to reach out to them and see what's going on. You know, they promised us this, now they're not.
I think we've lost connection with Eric for now, so we'll wait a minute and see if he comes back. All right, I think we lost him. Yailine, if you want to move ahead with the next question.
Yes. Did I answer your question, Zainab?
Yes, that did. Thank you.
And then Eric?
Yes. My question is related to administration. We've heard that there's going to be salary cuts for all, well, I don't know if it's all faculty, but for faculty making over 100 grand. Is there going to be any salary cuts for administration, and to what extent compared to professors especially?
From what I've been told, it was just across the board. So both faculty, staff, and administration have been getting cuts, with an emphasis on administration. For those making a large amount, they are going to be getting less. And they did tell us that even tenure professors were not exempt from that cut or from being laid off as well.
Thank you.
Faizan?
Yes, you mentioned that 30% of the student body wasn't coming to IIT. Was it 30% of the incoming freshmen, or was it 30% of the total student body not coming back? Or 40, sorry.
Yeah, the 40% is coming from those who graduated, those who were unable to come back because of the visa restrictions, and also the less amount of students who are college aged coming into college.
IIT have plans for to help those students who weren't able to come back and finish their degree?
They've been trying their best to get those students to come back. But ultimately, it's the government, the federal government, who has the say in that. And while the university, their biggest wish is to have those students come back, unfortunately, it's all up to the government granting them the visa.
And if IIT can't have them come back to America, would it be possible for them to come back to like go to Mumbai instead?
That's an option that they have discussed a lot for those who are unable to come to IIT. For these next 2 years, they'll go to the Mumbai campus and then have them transfer over to the Illinois campus.
I see. Thank you.
Melissa?
Hi, my question is mostly just asking about the quality of each classes now, especially we don't really have the significant number of this like faculty professors getting like fired, the amount of it. I'm just worried about the quality of what we're getting because we're paying a lot for one class, and if a professor is handling a lot of classes with a big amount of like capacity of students, how are we going to get ensured that we're going to get the quality of those class and the curriculum of itself out of it as well, that I know TAs as well are getting like maximized for only one spot. Like I just want to hear your guys' approach to that because the class is pretty expensive. It's like 5.2, like 5.5K per one. So
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. No, 100%. I think one of the ways that they would, at least the provost was talking about, is that your courses will stay the same. The only thing that will change is going to be the professor. And what that might entail is maybe reestablishing a relationship with that professor. And we understand, like, I'm even paying a lot. I know a lot of people on this call are paying a lot for this institution, specifically for the classes. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when school does start and we start to see that impact. That's all I could say on that.
Another thing I want to emphasize is we lost a lot of students. So while we have less faculty to teach, we have way more students who are not coming back than faculty who are not coming back. At the moment, comparison that I have is we currently have the same amount of students that Lane Tech High School has.
how many teachers does Lane Tech has though? I mean, it depends on also the department as well.
For them, I'm not too sure. They are more of a condensed school, and I haven't been looking at their way that they manage their school, but I have a lot of people who currently go there, or have come from Illinois Tech, not Illinois Tech, Lane Tech, and they have about 4,500 students as well.
I mean, I get that, but it's like now it questions the departments, right? Because I know we kind of joined like some of the department right now, and I'm just asking like it's gonna differ with the amount of professors for each. So how are we gonna ensure that? I mean, I know CS is pretty much has a very big staff, so I'm just worried about the other departments such as like the civil and other engineering and the science ones, and even like the Lewis and letters, like the physics student, the psychology students.
Well, I can't say for the specific departments, just because I'm not 100% sure myself. The school has been working with, they've been looking also at the reviews that students have been putting in at the end of the school year to see for those who would be laid off. And going into more detail on for each specific department in college, I'm not sure about.
Something that I would say is that we unfortunately won't be reassured until the admin come out with some sort of document that says who was laid off and who's left. And at least for student government, we'll ask over and over again until we get that list, or they could get it out quicker, because unfortunately that's the only way that we'll know and be reassured that whether our classes will be impacted or won't be impacted. They assured us it won't, but we can't really trust them if we don't know who actually got laid off.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Mhm. Nova?
Yeah, mostly this is directed towards you, Eric, since you had disconnected. I'm not sure if you have access to the chat history anymore. Well, one of my favorite strategies, just based off the conversation you and Mohammed were having previously, as someone who was in SGA, was to bring outside students who are particularly vocal about a concern to what are usually private admin student meetings, right? I know as, members of the executive board, you guys have these meetings with administration, usually like one-on-one or maybe one-on-three, where you're talking to 3 administrators. If you bring like literally just 1 or 2 students to those meetings with you, you are quite literally doubling or tripling the student presence in that room. And I found that to be a particularly effective, especially with the students who, you know them, they're ones that are very vocal about one issue. If you do that, I think you will find a lot more success in the coming school year.
Yeah, and I think we should start doing that. I think one of the reasons that I think that we've been struggling just to get student engagement, we don't know what's going on. We come up with Instagram posts, we send emails out, we put them up on the the MTCC TVs about student government to at least reach out to us, and we even table as well. So we would love to have students come to our admin meetings. Obviously, we're going to push as much as possible for those admin to accept our meetings, even if we have that extra person. Something that we realized in the past is that we try to bring an extra person on, and then they questioned why we wanted to bring that person on our meeting, and it was this back and forth. But we're more than open to inviting students, 1 or 2 students, to our admin meetings. I think it's more of the fact that I guess students have to reach out. I know we reach out again through Instagram, through email, through tabling, in-person connections. And as long as students engage and like say that they want to be involved, we'll put them on the meeting. But I think that's a great point, and I think for those students who are vocal about that, they should start reaching out to us. They should start knocking on our office door, which is in MTCC as well, and we should start bringing them in on those meetings. Yeah. Thank you.
Eric?
I have a question, I guess, kind of regarding facilities. I've noticed at IIT Tower, there's a number of windows that remain out, and I guess this is kind of semi-related. There is a chronic issue on campus that many of our buildings are some of the most energy inefficient buildings in the city. I believe like among the top 10, we have like the top 5. Is there any intention on making these buildings any more efficient? It's my understanding that there's some sort of architectural board representing MISE that prevents some of these upgrades. Does the school and does the student body have any intention on pressuring the school to upgrade its facilities to reflect modern day standards?
Yeah. Something I will say is that you are right. There is a committee that it's stopping them from doing it. It's most of the buildings on our campus were designed by Mies van der Rohe, who is an accredited architect for his time, and most of the buildings on campus are World UNESCO Heritage Sites. So there's a committee that they have to go through in order to do any repairs, and then there's another committee for preservation that they have to go through to do repairs. So even if the admin had the funds, because that's also another problem, is that we might not have the funds to do so. But even if we had the funds and the plans were drawn up, students were involved in everything, it might not take until a couple of years until that gets done, only because of the different committees that it has to go through. I don't know what buildings specifically you're talking about, but I know there are a couple of buildings that have certifications for their energy efficiency. I know Siegel Hall has a certification. It's a LEED certification, so it's for environmental energy sufficiency. they have a certification in the type of energy that runs throughout that building, and I know other buildings do as well. Can I ask what specific buildings are you talking about?
Yeah, I think specifically to my recollection, Herman Hall, the library, and Crown Hall are among them. There
Gotcha.
may be one or two more, but those are the three that come to mind as being on that list.
Got it. I would love to talk to you about that after. I'm in the architecture department as well. I'm a third year in the architecture department, and we have an organization called AIS that is specifically for advocating for architecture. So I would love to connect after and see, what we could do to move that forward, because it is something that needs to get done, because those are the main buildings on campus that are used.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay.
I guess I have if no one's raised their hand, I just have a tangential question going back to MSV. Since MSV and guns are going to be closed, but we might see MSV be used in the future. How is the school going to plan on maintaining like AC and other utilities in that building over the course of the year? And is there any intention on like cutting the amount of facility work there? I know it's kind of a huge burden to have that building operating, considering how big it is. But if it's not operating, I imagine the mold problem and other problems would become much worse than they are now. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So while they are closing the building, they're moving out the Office of Residence Life from there, since the RAs did have their office in there, as well as facilities having their main office in MSV basement. They'll still be looking after the building itself. They just won't have heating or cooling running through the building, just to save on costs. But they'll still keep maintaining MSV.
Okay, thank you.
Charlie?
You're muted.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to call some quick attention to a question that was dropped in the chat. Do you guys know if scholarship amounts will be affected?
They've told us that those who got scholarships are going to still keep their scholarships. That was a concern I also had. I'm a Chicago Difference Scholar myself. And while financial aid is taking a while to get the offer letters out to everyone, they did assure us that scholarships won't be getting affected.
And something I will say is that I know if you try to schedule a meeting through financial aid at the moment, they don't have availability until the beginning of September, and the payments are due September 1st for tuition. So it doesn't make sense why that's happening, but I reached out to them through email and they are responding. They're also responding if you do go in person. Now I know if you're out of state, you can't go in person, but if you have any questions about that, send it to financial aid on email. They usually respond in a couple of days. I know it may seem like a lot, but we're trying to see what we could do in opening up some availability for them to do Zoom schedules and calls as well with students rather than just waiting on email. So if you have any questions about that, email them. They should be answering, but we're also working on them to open up their availability again for Zoom calls and phone calls.
Is there any more questions or concerns?
Okay. Again, what I said in the chat, I'm gonna send that document to the people who are on this call. After this call, there's a list of names that I'll be sending it to, and you guys should be receiving it. If you have any questions about that specifically, just email it back on the email chain and email SGA, our email as well. I know our Instagram is down, but we're working with Tech News at the moment to send out any communication that SGA may have. Also, we'll be also posting this recording on YouTube, our YouTube account, and that'll be made public hopefully by the end of the week, so that students could rewatch it and listen to anything that was said. Again, I think now more than ever, it's more important to start voicing your concerns, whether that is on your own or with the help and resources of SGA. Come to our meetings, join student government, and we'll do the best we can to advocate for you guys, even for the students who can't come to the meetings. We'll come up with different ways. I know there's a couple people on here who mentioned different ways. We'll communicate with them, and we'll hopefully start to get that out there. I know it's frustrating. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you all for taking this time to talk to us. We appreciate all questions and concerns. You guys have a great day.
Thank you for hosting.